Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy RotoBeast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our MLB Core Plays for Friday, July 24th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure to click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our MLB, NBA, and NFL videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at DfsDudes.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily FanDuel and DraftKings cash lineups. Hey, it's really your one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure you can check out the site here at DfsCheatSheet.com. So, hey, how you doing out there, Jeremy?
What's up, man? We're wrapping this thing up, getting ready for lock. Drop you guys our cash game core plays, our tournament stacks. We used to do this separately. We used to do a stacks article and you did a core plays video. I kind of like this format, just knock out all the information for everybody so they can get it quickly, go fill out their lineups and move on with their day.
Yeah, couple quick things really quick before we do jump into this. I want to make it short and simple for you guys. Yes, I talked about in the beginning of the video, we do MLB, NBA, NFL. Those are our main sports, but now we got a tons of other stuff on the site. We also got PGA. We got NASCAR. When NHL starts back up, we'll have NHL. Plus, we do a little MMA as well. So we definitely got everything that you need for all your fantasy sport needs. So make sure to check out the site. Use promo. What's the new promo code that we have currently?
Restart 2020.
Yep. Promo code Restart 2020. You'll get all of the MLB season plus NBA. It includes all of our content, all of our cash lineups, everything that we do for those sports. You're gonna get it all one price, $100, covers you for the next 3 months. So make sure to check that out. Take advantage of that. DfsCheatSheet.com. And hey, man, let's jump into this, man. I feel like I got the opening day, so it's sometimes a little bit tough. But the thing about baseball compared to other sports is numbers don't lie, and I'm excited to get into today. Yesterday was a little bit of a teaser with only 2 games. I'm looking forward to watching some baseball today and definitely getting exposure kind of around the league. There's a bunch of teams that I'm liking. Definitely want to differentiate myself a little bit and get some good stacks. You're going to kind of touch on some stacks there. I'm going to give you guys I'm going to give you guys 5 guys that I think you must have in your cash lineups. And it's a really, really start to that. Let you fill in the rest. So yeah, man, let's go. You ready, Jay?
I'm ready, man.
All right, I'll go through with the cash real quick, and then you could kind of round us off with our stack, with the stacks that you think are the best for today. Once I get through my 5 core plays, if there's somebody you like, somebody you don't dislike, let me know. That's why we both get on here this way. We make sure to get the most accurate information possible. So first guy I'm going to start with, I'm just going to go with pitcher. I think it's a pretty easy one today. We talked about it earlier. I'm going to go with Justin Verlander. If we're going to pay up, I think that, yes, he's the highest priced guy on the slate, but I think that he's going to give you a solid floor. Definitely gives you that strikeout upside. He's an older guy, and, we talk about, yes, he is on the back end of his career, but the guy has had 4 months off. He's fully rested. I just really like this spot. I think that he can get you a quality start today. I expect the Houston Astros to put up a ton of runs, so I think he's in a great spot to get a W as well. We always want those extra points in fantasy. So I love Justin Verlander today. I think that he's the first guy that I'm going to be starting my cash lineup with. I just love the floor, and the fact that we talked about there's a ton of guys that are underpriced. There's a ton of really, really good value plays out there. I mean, I think you can pretty much fit Justin Verlander very easily today. Next guy I'm going to actually go with his teammate, a guy that I'm really liking today, that I think is in a really, really good spot. I'm going to be going with Alex Bregman. The guy, I mean, he's hit lefties very well for his whole entire career, and I'm going to continue to go to that well. I think Bregman's in a great spot today. Batting in that 3-hole for Houston, give you stolen base upside, gives you power upside, has 2 studs in front of studs batting in front of him in Altuve and Springer that typically get on base, get in scoring position. So if you're going to pay up somewhere, I think Alex Bregman is a great spot to pay up for. Now I'm going to give you 3 guys that I think one guy I think is just underpriced, and I'm liking his team in this spot today. I'm going to be going with Andrew McCutchen. Man, I like Andrew McCutchen at 2,800, batting in that leadoff spot. And he's a guy that he'll take some walks. Not really going to steal you any bases anymore. He's not really in that kind of stage in his career, but I think he can still snag you one here and there. He definitely gives you some upside at 2,800. I'm liking this Philly. I like this Philly team today. Definitely want to get some stacks in there. They're one of the teams that I'm going to be looking at today. I'll let you kind of get more into that, whether you like them or not. But definitely think that at 2,800, Andrew McCutchen is coming in at a great price tag, and I'm liking them. Next, I'm gonna go out there to Boston. This is a guy that you actually mentioned, and I kind of had to dig a little bit deeper, and I really like this call earlier. I love the spot that he's in right now. You got Kevin Pillar for Boston, 2,400. The guy gives you stolen base upside, definitely gives you guys power upside, and he's batting in a great spot in the lineup as well. He is currently batting. I had it written down. Oh yeah, he's in that 5-hole. He's batting right behind the heart of that order, batting behind some studs. I think he's going to get some big time RBI opportunity. Kevin Pillar, I think he's a great play at 2,400. He's another guy he's a guy that Jeremy has him hitting a home run today. I didn't pick him because he's going to hit a home run, but hey, if he does, then that'll be even more of a plus. I love this spot. Even if he doesn't get a home run, he's going to have a lot of RBI opportunities today, and I really like him. Last but not least, the last guy I'm going to go with the Cleveland Indian. I really like these Indians today. I'm putting them I'm not trying to pick all outfield guys. These are just guys that are coming in at a great price tag. I'm going to put him in my utility spot. I'm going to go with Jordan Luplow at 2,200, bare minimum price tag. I really like these Cleveland Indians today at home. And like I said, he's batting 6th. He's going to be right there. He has some studs in front of him. Lindor, Ramirez, Carlos Santana's a guy that gets on base a ton. At 2,200, I think Jordan Luplow is a guy that gives you a little bit of upside. And, at the end of the day, you don't need too much for him, too much from him to kind of get your value. And, he ended the season last year, last game of the season, he hit 2 home runs. He really finished off the season pretty strong. He had 4 home runs in the last 7 games of the season. So he did show us that power upside at 2,200. If he can give us 9 to 12 fantasy points, I think he's a great play right there. And that's really where I'm at. So just to recap it real quick, I'm liking Justin Verlander at pitcher, Alex Bregman at third base. I feel 2 outfield spots with Andrew McCutchen, 2,800, Kevin Pillar, 2,400. And lastly, I put Jordan Luplow in my utility spot at only 2,200. I think that's a really good start to your guys' cash game line tonight.
Yeah, man. What do you have left salary wise?
Oh, shoot, let me tell you, I got a lot, but you can still get 3,100. You can still fit another stud in there. You can balance out the lineup. The thing is anybody could come on here and say, hey, these are the best guys, and give you $3,800 guys and leave you with 2,200 left to fill out 2 spots. That's tough. That's not what I'm out here to do. I'd rather give you guys the guys that are underpriced, that are really good value, and I'll let you pick the studs that you want, because it's a lot easier to pick studs than it is to pick quality value for sure.
Absolutely. And with 3,100 left, you have the opportunity to pay up in 2 spots and still get another. A guy that I'm surprised isn't in your core, which you could probably swap out if you wanted to for Luplow, is Jay Bruce. I haven't seen that confirmed starting lineup yet, but I think Bruce is hitting in the 5 spot. And I believe on FanDuel, Jay Bruce is 2,100.
Yeah. No. And I talked about Jay Bruce earlier. I do like Bruce today. I definitely think that he's in. You could swap him out. Either one.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I said this in my podcast earlier, my deep dive podcast. Philadelphia is so under the radar with how deep that lineup is. You talk about a JT Realmuto, you talk about, Rhys Hoskins, you talk about they get McCutchen back. They added Segura last year, who came off a monster year in Seattle before going to Philadelphia. Him and McCutchen both got hurt. They're both back. You signed Didi Gregorius. You picked up Jay Bruce. That's a very I have to tell you, man, from top to bottom, it's very comparable to the Dodgers. It's very comparable to Dodgers. I think that they're not getting the same amount of hype that they should. Maybe it's just me, and I feel like everybody's on the Dodgers and everybody's on the Yankees, but the Phillies, with what they've got in their lineup, it's not far behind what the Dodgers have in the NL.
Right, and one thing I'll just kind of touch on it because you said it. So Jay Bruce actually is in the lineup. He's confirmed batting 7th today. So I mean, I think that if you don't like Luplow, you definitely could look at a guy like Jay Bruce. The only thing that kind of scared me, and I don't want to be that guy, so and I know you're probably gonna get on me. The only thing that I didn't like about Jay Bruce in this spot was he's 0 for 10 off of Sandy Alcatron with 3 strikeouts. So in three games against him, the guy hasn't got a hit. But at the same time, Jay Bruce has been a little bit kind of injured and not playing up to his potential. And fully healthy, definitely could be a different story.
Right. The thing for me that I'll give you guys some of what is behind our paid wall in my deep dive podcast. One of the things we talk about that has me on Jay Bruce and left-handed bats is you look at Alcantara, and he has a 130. We only have last year's numbers, so 136 ISO last year against right-handed bats and a 173 ISO against left-handed bats. You take a look at the K percentages. He's 20.5% K percentage against right-handed bats and a 15.9 K percent to left-handed bats. And then the ground ball rate and fly ball rates, almost a 50% ground ball rate to right-handed bats, 10 points lower ground ball rate to left-handed bats. And the fly ball, it's inverted. You look at that, it's 31% fly ball rate to right-handed bats as opposed to a 39.6% fly ball rate to left-handed bats. So to me, I'm looking at the Bryce Harper, the Didi Gregorius, the Jay Bruce, even Quinn as a switch hitter to get some exposure to the left-handed bats against Alcantara because of those ISO numbers. That to me, I'm a guy, when I talk about BVP and I'm not being a big BVP guy, I do look at it. But to me, I'm an ISO guy. To me, ISO is the biggest fantasy stat there is because it takes into account the extra base hits. We don't need guys to get us singles. We need the doubles, the triples, the home runs, the RBIs, etc. So that's why I like Jay Bruce so much. But no, solid core, man. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess last but not least, just to kind of give Luplow a little bit more love. I mean, he obviously last year was I think last year was his first year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he faced Danny Duffy 6 times, very, very small sample size, but he got on 4 out of 6 times, 2 walks. So obviously he sees the ball out of his hand very good, and he does have a jack in there as well.
Yeah, and Duffy, he's not. I mean,
gives him up. Duffy gives him up. I like that Cleveland team today. Go ahead, man. What you got for the stat?
Duffy gives it up. So, I mean, look, like you said, from a player standpoint, we could get on here and we could talk about studs all day long. It's really easy to go and look and just say, hey, look, let me look at the highest implied run totals and let me stack those guys up. You can do that, but here's the problem. For tournaments, if you're going to multi-enter stuff, you're going to have the same lineups everybody else has with the same players. You're going to have Boston, you're going to have Houston, you're going to have the Dodgers, Cleveland, and probably Philadelphia as your top 5 teams because those are the top 5 implied run totals. There's a couple of other stacks that I like outside of those guys. And the first one I'll talk about, a guy I talked about this morning on our On Deck video was Nathan Eovaldi. I think he's a tremendous GPP play. But if we look deeper into Eovaldi, where he struggled last year, there's a glaring difference when it comes to ISO. There's a glaring difference between right-handed bats and left-handed bats. And when you look at Eovaldi, we're talking a 331 ISO against left-handed bats last year as opposed to a 146 ISO against right-handed bats. He didn't struggle with right-handed bats. We're talking, when you look at the fly ball and ground ball ratios, a 49% ground ball ratio to right-hand bats, only a 38% ground ball ratio to left-handed bats. When you talk about the soft to hard contact, he's giving up only 32% hard contact last year to right-handed bats as opposed to 41% hard contact to left-handed bats. So Baltimore is a team that I believe it may still be the highest combined implied total on the board, the Baltimore-Boston game. If you're going to get Baltimore in your lineup, I would go a guy that I think you can get as part of the stack that people are going to avoid him because of how bad he was. I think there was one game last year, if you remember, Chris Davis was $500.
Right.
Because he was so bad, right? So he's a left-handed bat. You look at Ruiz, Santander's a switch hitter, and then you could throw a righty like Hayes in the mix in the leadoff spot. So Baltimore's a team that if you're going to stack them because you're looking at the total combined run total, make sure you understand what you're stacking. And you want to get left-handed bats because that's when you see a trend like that, you can go deeper like I do in the deep dive, and we'll look at where the movement is on his pitches. And, he could have movement that he's a right-handed pitcher. He could have movement that's moving into right-handed bats and moving out over the plate to left-handed bats, and that could be the reason he's getting lit up. If you want more stuff like that, listen to the deep dive. Outside of that, my two other favorite stacks today are the Oakland Athletics for two reasons. One, it's a talented roster. They've got good numbers against Haney. Haney hasn't pitched the best against them in his career. And it's just a super talented team, like I said. But I like late game exposure. I think this will be an under-owned game. There's a very deep Oakland Athletics lineup. You can start with Simeon, Chapman. I mean, Davis, I think he has a bounce-back year. The list goes on and on with how deep this Oakland Athletics team is. And then St. Louis, we covered them at length. St. Louis is really, really cheap. You're talking about Matt Carpenter, Paul Goldschmidt. All these guys in the past have been close to, if not over, $4,000. And you got Paul Goldschmidt, I believe, sitting at $3,200 and Matt Carpenter at $2,500. Not to mention you've got Edman and Paul DeYoung and all these other guys who have home run potential and upside, not going against a great pitcher. So those are three stacks to me that are a little bit more off the board. In tournaments, especially in deep multi-entry tournaments, people look at the highest implied run totals and try to get exposure there with the limited amount of entries that they have. You've got to find ways to pair and match your stacks up. So for me, that's the three teams that I'm looking to stack some of the more popular teams with.
Question for you. I'm just curious. Obviously everybody was on Dodgers and Yankees yesterday just because they were the easy ones. Do you think today with the full slate, do you think that the Dodgers will go under owned today against the Marja? Or do you think they'll be one of the more popular stacks again?
So you're going to hear it here from us, right? You're going to hear it here from us. Here's my honest opinion on this. Yes, because people are so top heavy with building stacks, right? And I don't want to call anybody out, but we've gotten questions in our Discord chat like, do you just pick two? Is it okay to stack two teams together? Yeah, it is. But what people do when they do that is they don't realize that it's not okay to get into a multi-entry GPP with only 10 lineups. Like, you're so far out leveraged by the field, somebody like me or you that's going to put 150 lineups in there, and you've got 10. And then because you've got your 10 lineups in there, you play it safe and you take like Boston and Houston, right? Because they got high implied run total. Or you try to stack the Dodgers and you can't stack them with Houston and get Verlander, or you can't stack them with Boston and get Verlander. So the St. Louis, the Oakland, even some of the Padres and the Orioles, those price tags allow you to build with the Dodgers. So that's a long way of answering yes to your question, but I definitely think that the Dodgers being later in the day, I think a Dodgers A's stack, a Dodgers Cardinal stack, you could probably fit Verlander in with that. It fits well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And I honestly think at the end of the day, I think the chalk, you said it, it's going to be Houston, it's going to be Boston. And no, don't get me wrong, they're in great spots. But like you said, we're trying to find the teams that nobody's going to be on. And you got Dodgers, the best team in the league, in my opinion, because they're not, everybody's talking about them today. I think they'll go a little bit under as well.
The other thing also, right, is that you have to look at kind of the psychology in building lineups, right? People don't like to wait for lineups to confirm.
Right.
The later that, and the Dodgers are notorious for like at 350 announcing their lineup, right? And if you're not in a position to go ahead and then generate your lineups, or you've generated 100 of them and you're going to have 50 with the Dodgers, you're not in that position. That's why you need a tool like we have in the optimizer. If you're not in that position and you're single-handedly building 10 lineups, people don't like to wait. They get nervous. Like, I'm going to lose my money. So that's why I always say exposure to the late games first and foremost. But people, one, they want to watch their players play. Two, people with baseball hate waiting for lineups to lock because they don't want to get burned.
Yeah, but obviously we've both been doing DFS, all sports, football, basketball, baseball. I've had lineups where even our cash lines, to be honest with you, we go with the late game guys, and our cash lineup will be like almost dead last. But we don't have nobody going, or we only got one guy going. And then you got, this lineup sucks. This lineup is not good. But guess what? How are you going to talk about that when nobody has even started yet? And it went from dead last place to being a top 10 finisher. And it's just, at the end of the day, people, if you want to do DFS long term, you have to learn. And I'm bad at this, and I'm getting better though. Is You have to have patience. A couple hours is not going to kill you, especially when you're trying to win $50,000, $100,000 for sure. So
it's not going to kill you, man. You have to have patience, man.
For sure. So, hey, man, I think that's really where we're at with our core video for today. Hey, man, I'm really excited that sports are coming back. MLB full throttle today. We got NBA coming up next week. PGA, we got some stuff on the site as well for that. That's in the optimizer. Hey, check it out, dfscheatsheet.com. And hey, good luck on our guys' contest tonight. All right, peace out.